When trolling becomes foreign policy, India's New Zealand distraction. Introduction. This week, Indian media staged a peculiar double act. On the same day India and New Zealand announced a trade deal, two stories broke with suspicious timing. An old interview where Indian anchor Palki Sharma aggressively questioned New Zealand's PM over the Khalistan referendum, and fresh footage of Christians disrupting a Sikh event in Auckland. The timing felt more theatrical than coincidental. 1. The interview that won't die.
Prime Minister Lakshmi, you've said in the past that, and I'm quoting again, India is very much aligned with New Zealand on security and defense. And New Delhi has raised concerns in the recent past vis-a-vis the Khalistani separatists that operate in New Zealand. And last year, they also held a referendum that talked about breaking up the state of Punjab from India. The government of India, of course, objected to it. How do you propose to address these concerns?
Well, the bottom line is that in our democracy, we believe in the freedom of speech.
The interview in question aired in March. Sharma grilled New Zealand's PM about India's concerns over a Khalistan referendum. His answer: New Zealand supports free speech. Sharma, unfazed, hinted at trade consequences, but the PM stood firm, dismissing claims that the Sikhs for Justice group was a terrorist organization. India lost that round badly. So why resurrect it now, 9 months later, on the day a trade deal is signed? In nationalist media, even old losses can be spun as victories. 2. The convenient riot. Simultaneously, reports surfaced of a far-right Christian group disrupting a Sikh event in Auckland. The footage, showing aggressive confrontations, quickly gained traction in Indian media. But this wasn't random violence. It was a targeted attack by extremists, amplified at the exact moment the trade deal was announced. It feels like a manufactured incident, one India has used before. What's even more suspicious is that the Christian group, mostly of European descent, performed the indigenous Hakka dance and echoed the Indian narrative of Sikhs as terrorists. The anti-immigration group has also only targeted Sikhs. If India exaggerated or manipulated these protests, it would be a calculated move to position India as a protector of the broader Indian diaspora abroad while portraying Sikhs as victims. This narrative not only stokes nationalist sentiments, but also reinforces India's role as a defender against perceived threats, boosting its political legitimacy and influence among its overseas community. Orchestrating such an incident would also clearly serve the Indian government's agenda, providing a ready-made deflection from the recent rise in attacks on Christians in India, while offering state-aligned media fresh material for its usual whataboutery. The timing is too convenient to ignore, and the randomness of the target, Sikhs in New Zealand, a country with no history of such sectarian violence, only deepens the suspicion. 3. State-sponsored harassment. India's history of harassment against Sikhs abroad is well documented. Canada is investigating claims that Indian intelligence services have been involved in extrajudicial killings and extortion of Sikhs. The US supports these claims with strong evidence. So when India amplifies footage of harassment in New Zealand, it's worth asking, who benefits? The answer is clear. India gets to play both victim and protector, stoking nationalist sentiments while distracting from its real issues. 4. The China problem India won't talk about. While Indian media chases distractions, China is escalating tensions in Arunachal Pradesh. There have been border incursions and infrastructure developments, signaling China's growing interest in the region. India's response? Bluster and inaction, no credible deterrent, no diplomatic breakthroughs. If China pushes harder, India may not be able to stop it. This is a real, unspinnable crisis. But instead of confronting it, India creates distractions. 5. Trump's claim and India's fragility. Meanwhile, Trump's recent claim that he prevented a nuclear war between India and Pakistan paints India as fragile, saved only by US intervention. For a nation that claims to be a rising superpower, this narrative is damaging. It's the diplomatic equivalent of needing a stronger friend to walk you home. 6. The playbook, projection and distraction. Facing territorial threats, global humiliation, and a fragile international reputation, India distracts by spinning a new narrative. It revives an old interview, amplifies a manufactured incident in Auckland, and portrays itself as the defender of the global Indian community. The goal is simple: create outrage to shift attention from its own vulnerabilities, especially with China. 7. The cost of theater. The tragedy is that this strategy works domestically. Indian audiences, fed nationalist rhetoric, believe the government is strong even as China encroaches on their territory. They won't question why India stages incidents abroad instead of addressing real threats at home. Conclusion. When a government uses trolling as foreign policy, reviving old interviews, amplifying convenient riots, and manufacturing outrage, it exposes its own weakness. Strong nations don't need fictional victories, and confident governments don't deflect from their challenges. India is doing both. While Indian media chases phantoms in New Zealand, China is redrawing maps. The cost. A distracted media, a vulnerable nation, and missed opportunities to address the real threats at its borders. The question isn't whether this tactic works in the short term, it's what happens when reality catches up. Thanks for watching. If this made you think, whether you agree or disagree, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more content that looks beyond the headlines. Until next time, may the force be with you.